talk with families, about the future and who will be there, we often kind of sit down together and write a bit of a list of all the things that they do in their son or daughter's life. Now, this might be, turning her in bed at night. It might be getting her meals, buying the groceries. Making sure she has the medication, the health appointments, ensure she goes on a holiday, that she's got money for the future, so there'll be any number of roles that parents would play in the lives of a person with a disability. And I guess one of the things that I've encouraged families to do is to think about those roles and divide them up a little bit, and to think about what are the ones that you can hand over to someone else, like an organisation, and what are the ones that you should not hand over to a service ever, and they would be the ones that are really about the family business. So what makes, John a Brown? What are the stuff that is intrinsic to the Brown family? I've certainly had the experience where you can look at somebody through the lens of their disability and think, he's doing that because he has such and such a disability. And then you meet his brothers and sisters and they all do exactly the same thing. That's about who he is in his family. So I guess it's getting families to really think through what are the things that they're doing and who can do which pieces, what should you hand over and what should you absolutely never hand to a service. So then you start to think, who's going to take our place in some of this? And it might be a service, and you can start to think about funding and how that might happen. But perhaps more critically, or just as critically, who's going to take our place in some of the family business? Who's going to be there? Who's going to stand up for this person? Who's going to ensure that they have a good life? And something about the blending of those. It's artificial to divide somebody's life into different places, so there is something of the blending. But in this era of self-direction, and as more families are taking control and taking over, then the question of who will be there in the future is even more critical. We came from an era where it was much more handing over the person to a service and putting your faith in the service that they would be there in the long term. And as we move away from that model, it's one thing to plan for now and the immediate future, but absolutely critical to plan for the long-term future as well.